Hey coders! Today we're building a secure Flask REST API with MySQL for user authentication. We'll implement JWT tokens, password hashing, and test everything in Postman. What is a service? A software can be delivered as a service when run through internet, becomes easily accessible, termed as a web service. A service is a self-contained unit of functionality. Examples: authentication, payment, etc. It performs specific tasks and provides reusable operations. Services are commonly used in distributed computing and microservices architectures. Allows different applications to communicate with each other. Types of services, as is described. Web services. Services accessible over the web. Example: REST, SOAP. SOAP is Simple Object Access Protocol, is used to communicate between the client and the server. Microservices. Small, independent services handling different functionalities. Example: authentication, payment. Cloud services. Services hosted on cloud platforms like AWS, Amazon Web Services, Azure. What is a RESTful API? Let's find it out. A RESTful API, Representational State Transfer API, is a web service. Follows REST principles. REST principles are as follows. Client-server architecture. The client, front-end, and server, backend, are separate. Stateless. The server does not store client session data. Cacheable. Responses can be cached for performance. Uniform interface. Uses standard HTTP methods: get, post, put, delete. Layered system. Can have multiple layers like authentication, load balancing. Allows communication between clients, e.g., front-end apps, and servers. A RESTful API exposes endpoints, URLs, to allow clients, websites, mobile apps to perform operations on resource. Common status codes in RESTful APIs. HTTP status code 200 is often to check whether a request is successfully done. 500 indicates something went wrong on the server. This information in table is for quick reference. JWT token, JSON Web Token. JSON is JavaScript object notation used for data exchange between different applications running on different platforms. A JWT, JSON Web Token, is a compact, URL-safe token used to securely transmit information between two parties, typically the client and the server. How it works in your app. User logs in, server verifies credentials. Server returns JWT, client stores it, usually in session or cookie. Client sends JWT in the authorization header on future requests. Authorization, bearer, token. Server verifies JWT using the secret key and lets the request through. What is Postman? Postman is a popular API development and testing tool. It is used by developers to design, test, document, and monitor APIs, application programming interfaces. It provides a user-friendly interface to send HTTP requests like GET, POST, PUT, DELETE, and analyze responses without writing code manually. Implementing a simple RESTful API using Flask. Recall, RESTful APIs are simple, scalable, portable, and secure ways for applications to communicate, whether it's web, mobile, or microservices. Let's implement a simple RESTful API using Flask for user registration, login, and role-based access control. The system defines 4 endpoints: register, login, dashboard, and admin_panel, demonstrating secure access with JWT authentication and role verification. The table describes the endpoints being developed for demonstration. Register and login are public accessible to all, whereas admin panel and dashboard are accessible to user or admin and admin panel to admin only. Hey coders! Today we're building a secure Flask REST API with MySQL for user authentication. We'll implement JWT tokens, password hashing, and test everything in Postman. Recall developing Flask-based applications in Visual Code and using virtual environment. First, ensure you have Python and MySQL, WAMP, installed. We'll use these key packages. Let's create a folder for new project to develop and test Flask-based REST API. Let folder be renamed as Test API. Now open the created folder in Visual Code to completely develop the application in question. Now the created folder is opened in Visual Studio Code. Select Terminal option from the View menu option to open the terminal window. Now first task is to create the virtual environment. Use the following command. Virtual environment is created, and now the second step is to activate it with the following command. The prompt in the terminal window shows that the virtual window is activated. Now, very important, to select the Python command interpreter from the virtual environment created. Now, it's time to install Python libraries required to develop the required with the pip install command. Libraries to install Flask, MySQL connector, and WorkSug to implement security. Run the command to install the required libraries. Libraries are getting installed in the virtual environment created. Done it. Let's upgrade the pip, that is package manage command. PIP command in updated. Now let's focus on the required code. Recall, we are implementing a simple RESTful API using Flask for user registration, login, and role-based access control. The system defines 4 endpoints: register, login, dashboard, and admin_panel, demonstrating secure access with JWT authentication and role verification. Let's add a app.py file to the project folder to write the Python code. Now first create the MySQL database to store and maintain data about users. Ensure WAMP server is installed and running on the system to create database with names sampled in MySQL Relational Database Management System. Type the name for database and hit the Create button to create it. SampleDB database is created. It is empty now. Now is the time to create the table users with the required fields. Copy the command to execute in MySQL window. Click on Go button to execute the SQL query to create the users table in the database. As can be observed, users table is created and now it is empty table. The user table has 5 columns: ID, username, password, role that could be either user or admin, and the last column is approved to control approving or disapproving users by admin in future. The code is ready to be used just to reduce the time of video being created. Installed libraries are imported in code file to use the required functionality. The generate password hash is used to encrypt the password before storing in database. Similarly, check password hash to compare the hash password from database with the password entered by user to login. It is the key for encrypting and decrypting purpose. The information required to connect with the MySQL database, SampleDB. The selected code is copied in the app.py file in Visual Code. The aim is to define 4 endpoints, so we define 4 routes with the app route specifying GET or POST method. The system defines 4 endpoints: register, login, dashboard, and admin_panel, demonstrating secure access with JWT authentication and role verification. Login endpoint. Code to generate JWT token on login success and sending to client apps FO using it to authenticate. Dashboard and admin panel route are created. Let's copy the remaining code tp app.py file to move with the testing part with Postman. Ensure app.py file is saved whenever any changes are done to it. Use Python command in terminal window as Python app.py. This runs the application successfully. The service is running on development machine with IP address 127.0.0.1 on port number 5000. The services created as endpoints are also running and accessible. Let's test these services using Postman. Postman is a popular API development and testing tool. It is used by developers to design, test, document, and monitor APIs. Let's straight away start testing the services. Copy the URL of the running application. Start with register service to register users. This API requires username and password as JSON to be passed as input, which in client application will be accepted through Windows DOM or HTML form on web page. The method used is post. Observe URL with /register. Let's create user with username as paradise and password as coaching. Now click Send button to call the endpoint register to test it. Observe a message, user registered successfully. It means the service is tested successfully. This code returns JSON of the message being displayed. Let's register one more user with username support and password as password. Clicking on Send button sends new JSON data with username and password to register the user. Also created successfully. Let's select Users table in database to check whether users are really registered and are created as records. Yes, done. Observe default role is user and approved is false and password ID encrypted. This code generates hash for the password. The user is in default role of user because of this command and also by default approved is false. Let the user with the username Paradise be in the admin role. Here, I directly change in database. However, it will also be changed by service point in future by admin of the application. Also approve the user Paradise by updating it to true, that is 1. Now user Paradise is in the role of admin and is also approved. If not approved, will not be able to log in. Now it's time to test the login endpoint by adding / and login at the end of application URL. Now return back to Postman. Replace register by login and pass username and password as JSON to the login endpoint. Hitting Send button displays the message. Account not approved by admin. These codes check whether account approved or not. If not, displays this message. Let's in this video approved this user directly in database. Now again, click the Send button. The user is successfully logged in the system. The login success returned JWT token to be used for accessing secured and protected resources. Even an API or endpoint can be protected so that only login users can access it. Let's copy it. The protected endpoint dashboard can be accessed only by login user or admin. Let's now test dashboard endpoint. Delete the JSON. Change method to get. Click on Send button to test it. Observe JSON returned by endpoint. Missing authorized header. Click Authorization and select Bearer Token. Recall, we already have copied token return on successful login of user support. We will use it now, so paste it here. And now click Send button to test it. Great, now you're able to access it. Let's try to access the admin panel. Replace dashboard by admin in the URL. Hit Send button. Try to observe the result. Cannot be accessed as login user support is in the role of user and not admin. Let's now log in as user Paradise, who is in the role of admin. Pass username Paradise and password coaching. User Paradise is logged successfully. The endpoint returns JWT token. Let's copy it to use it for accessing admin-related endpoints. Now go back and try to access the admin endpoint. Why this message? Can you guess? Commandeer. Very simple that you are still using token generated for user support whose role is limited to user only. Then the solution is to paste the copied token when admin user successfully logged in last time. Again, hit the Send button. Yes, done it. One last testing for invalid username or password. Let's try login with the wrong credentials, username, or password. Hit the send button. Observe the result. The conclusion is the developed endpoints are successfully tested for its correct functioning. Recall steps. 1. Creating virtual environment. 2. Activating it. 3. Installing required libraries. 4. Creating database. 5. Creating table. 6. Code. 7. Running code. 8. Test endpoints using Postman. A JWT JSON Web Token is a compact, URL-safe token used to securely transmit information between two parties. JWT typically the client, stateless, server. No session storage needed on server. Secure, signed and optionally encrypted. Portable, can be sent via URL, header, or cookie. Benefits of RESTful API services. Scalability. RESTful APIs are stateless. Each request contains all information needed, allowing the server to scale easily. Add more servers without maintaining session state. Simplicity. REST uses simple HTTP methods: get, post, put, delete. Easy for developers to understand and integrate with. No complex protocols. Flexibility and portability. REST APIs can be consumed by any client, browser, mobile app, IoT device, using any language, Python, JavaScript, etc. Performance optimization. REST APIs can use HTTP caching to reduce server load and improve response times. Responses can be optimized using lightweight formats like JSON. Statelessness. Each request from a client contains all information needed. No server memory of previous requests, making error recovery and server restart simpler. Layered system APIs can be organized in layers. Example: authentication layer, business logic layer, database layer, improving modularity and scalability. Standardized communication REST APIs use standard HTTP status codes, headers, and methods, making them predictable and interoperable across systems. Easy integration REST APIs are commonly used across cloud services, third-party applications, and microservices architecture, making integration seamless. Maintainability, clear separation between client and server enables independent updates to either side without breaking the other. Thank you for watching the video. Please like the video and subscribe the channel. Share your thoughts and comments. Also visit my blog. Like and share the video and subscribe to my channel. Once again, thanks for watching the video.